Hi, I'm Dr. Joseph Wittering, and today I want to talk to you about what I think are the three main reasons why you should consider coming off Xanax or any other benzodiazepine medication if you have been taking them long term. So, the first reason is that these medications lose their effectiveness over time. So, initially, when you take this medication for anxiety, you may notice that it has quite a strong effect and it's very helpful. However, what we know about these medications in the brain is that the brain um, begins to develop a dependence to that chemical effect over time. And so what people usually find is after about 2 weeks, that anxiety effect has all but dissipated. And then at that time, the brain has changed in a way where if you were to remove that medication, you would actually be even worse with your anxiety than before. And now that's because the brain has made these compensatory adaptative changes to accommodate from this external effect of the drug. And so people who take these medications for longer than about 2 months, they essentially end up taking a medication which really isn't helping their anxiety or their sleep too much, but it's simply there because they cannot remove it. And so what happens in these patients is either they end up taking a drug that's not really doing anything, or they start going to higher and higher doses of this medication so they can get the same effect. However, even as you go to higher doses, things will still catch up, your brain will still adapt to that external chemical in there, and then the effect will go lower and lower. And eventually you may be on something like 10 milligrams of Xanax or something higher, where you're not having a lot of help with anxiety reduction, but you're having a lot of significant side effects, things like respiratory depression, things like cognitive impairment from the drug. So that's the number one reason on the list. Let's move on to number two. Second one is you can die if you stop taking this. Benzodiazepine is one of the two chemicals that I know of in psychiatry where if you stop taking them, you can actually die. And so the first one is, yes, benzodiazepines, as I mentioned, but the second one is alcohol. And so what happens with benzos when you acutely stop them is that your brain can go into such a state of excitation that you can have serious seizures. And if you have one of these severe seizures, you can go into cardiac and respiratory arrest. And so people die from benzodiazepine withdrawal. Now, what this means is that you're in serious trouble. If you are traveling and you lose your medications, if you, for whatever reason, cannot get your medications filled from your prescriber, this can be a life-threatening situation. You need to go to the emergency room. So long-term use of these medications can be really dangerous for those reasons. And on to number three. Now, the third reason you should consider coming off your benzodiazepine safely is that they can cause something called protracted withdrawal. Now, this is a condition which is essentially it's a neurological toxicity. Some people who take these medications long-term develop, or it can happen while you're taking it long-term, but a lot of the times it can happen after you start coming off of the medication. If you do it too quickly, they can develop a constellation of really disabling neurological symptoms. These can be things like really loud ringing in your ears, sensitivity to light, sensory abnormalities, and neuropathy, which is typically experienced as a burning sensation throughout your body. This is a condition that can last for several years, and for some it may even be permanent. The greatest way to avoid this happening to you is to do a very gradual, safe taper. So that concludes our summary of the top three reasons why I think you should consider coming off Xanax or any other benzodiazepine. If you're interested in getting help with that, please come and visit us at our YouTube channel. It's predominantly what we do. We help people discontinue drugs just like benzodiazepines. So thank you for your attention, and I hope you enjoyed this video.